Hey, JC and Nat here. I have a question for you. Did you stop doing things in your life because you got old? Or are you old because you stopped doing things? Let's talk about that. Hey, Miss Nat, and I'm here to talk to you about something I think is really important. A lot of people talk about prices and all these things about living in Thailand, but I think there are things that are just as important or more important than the price of things. I think that's a given here, that it's cheap to live. What I want people to do is be fulfilled. If they choose Thailand as a place to retire, I think they should be happy here. I think they should have a great life. I don't think that they should come over here just because it's cheap. That's not, there's a lot of places you can live that's cheap, right? But there's a lot of benefits to living in Thailand. Now, some of the benefits are not tangible. You can't touch them. Some of them are like in the air. We call intangible. One of the things I think is really important is to actually go back and be fulfilled as a child. And what I mean by that is, the question I ask the people, when we start to grow up, and I don't know if it's this way in Thailand or not, as you start to grow up, in America, the teachers and parents and things like that say, grow up, don't do this, don't do that, stop being like a kid, grow up. And so we tend to do that, and we take it literally, and we end up boxing ourselves in and becoming like old people. And so my question is to these people, and I asked Nat this as well, do we stop doing the things that we felt good and happy doing because we got older? Or, and I think this is even more important, did we get older and start to age biologically, chronologically is one thing, biologically is another one, because we stopped doing the things that we love to do? And why am I bringing this up when it comes to talking about retirement in Thailand? Because this is an opportunity. When you come to live in Thailand, they say it's never too late to have a happy childhood. And I think there's a big distinction between being childlike and childish. And Thai people are very childlike. They still retain a lot of that humor and wonderment of being young. You see them drop something in a break, they laugh. They don't go, oh my God, somebody's going to yell at me and scream. They take things a lot lightly, And so I think this is really important to keep in mind. And then also, I remember seeing a thing, if people want to stay young or reverse their aging, there's something you can do. They did a study, and they actually had a nursing home. I don't know if you know what nursing homes are. Nursing homes where old people go to live because the kids, the children don't want them to live with them anymore, which is happening more in Thailand than it used to be. But usually the old people stay with the children and the grandchildren. And so, but they did a study where they actually took a nursing home, and they went back to the time where the people that were in the nursing home, the patients in there, they actually went back and decorated the place with the same kind of furnishings and stuff like that of when they were younger. And the shows that they were showing on the TV sets and everything, they took the reruns, the shows from when they were younger, and played those. Everything about it was, their environment became the way it was when they were younger. And what was amazing about the study is they the biomarkers of skin elasticity and all these different things actually regressed. They actually went back in time. Did they become youngsters again? No, not necessarily. But they actually became younger biologically, their physical being. Actually, the biomarkers reversed in aging just a little bit. So it's really important. Now, this is an opportunity when people retire. They don't have to go to work anymore. Hopefully you don't have to think about your finances like you used to. There's going to be more money left at the end of the month, hopefully. They're not stressing out over all this stuff, because it's really important not to stress out. Enjoy your time. You deserve it. You worked for it your whole life. Now's the time for you to enjoy your life here. And the way to do that is think about what life was like when you were younger. Did you like to bicycle? Did you like to play tennis? Did you like to bicycle? Did you like to play tennis? What did you like to do? Look at life like kids do. Kids look at everything and they're like amazed. It's time for you to go walk on the beach, or have a sense of purpose. If you want to help kids in your neighborhood or your village or something to learn English, have a sense of purpose when you wake up in the morning to do something good for the greater good of society. Do the things that you love to do. If you ever always wanted to paint, paint. Did you used to, when you were younger, sing in the shower? Sing in the shower. The thing about Thai people is you all don't really judge a lot of people for the choices that they make in their lives. At least you don't do it to their face, because you don't want them to feel bad. You might do it gossiping behind their back, but you don't do it to them because you don't want them to make them feel bad. And this is why, getoes are accepted within society here, the lady boys and stuff like that, because that's their choice. They choose this stuff. And so I'm not telling you to become a lady boy. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you want to do something that you always wanted to do, or fulfill something, or be like you were when you were younger, now's the opportunity to do that. You've got the freedom to do that. And I think this is something that's really important. And when I was talking about health and reversing biomarkers and stuff like that, if you want to stay healthy, you can do it in Thailand. And I'm not just saying because maybe you'll exercise more by walking, because it's a society where a lot of things are happening within neighborhoods, as opposed to like where I used to live, where there was businesses one place and people living someplace else, and you have to get in a car and go there. Here you live next door to places you can get your hair cut or buy a bakery good or something like that. So there's more activity that way, so maybe that'll help you out. But also, what's really interesting here to me is that if you start to enjoy your life, because back home we compartmentalize ourselves. As we get older and older, we narrow down our environment and what we allow into our bubble. And we do that because we want more certainty as we get older. And I understand that. But you need to open it up and let people come into your life, and you go out and do more and experience more. This is really important. And the reason I say that is, aging is part of our DNA. Every time we replicate a DNA in our body, it actually shortens. And I won't go into the whole details of how that happens, but the thing that holds your DNA together are telomeres, which are in the ends of the strands of the DNA. And they hold them together. If you reduce all those telomeres, then your DNA starts to not replicate the way it did previously. And that's when you start to get all these weird things happening in your body, and we call that aging. And this is a simplistic version of what happens, but they now have found out that there's actually an enzyme in our body called telomerase. And that will actually keep lengthening the telomeres to keep our DNA from unraveling. And so you might ask, well, how do you get that telomerase, this enzyme? How do you do that? So you can extend the telomeres and reduce the aging. And the way you do that, it's interesting, is all through what you do in your life and how you interpret the events in your life. If you're doing things and interpreting things that are negative, and you're feeding yourself with negative emotions and negative feelings, and this comes down to your beliefs, so what you believe about an event that's happening. If it's negative, then you're actually shortening your telomeres, and you're going to age faster, and it can create a lot of physical ailments. Now they've said almost all physical ailments, or a lot of them, are a result of stress in our lives. And the opposite is an effect as well. You can produce this telomerase and increase these telomeres lengths to keep you from aging by doing things and experiencing life that makes you feel good. The only reason that drugs work in people are there's receptors in our body for that specific chemical. And you know why we have receptors in our body for these chemicals? Because we produce them ourselves. We can produce diazepam, make us feel calm, like Valium, and all these other things, interleukin, interfering with your anti-cancer drugs, all these things by feeling love and peace and having a sense of purpose. So the reason I'm saying this is I really want people to be fulfilled when they come over. And now's the time to not just be fulfilled and have a happy retirement, but accomplish and feel things that you haven't felt for a long time. And the way to do that is have a sense of being like a kid again. I have a friend back in Florida who wrote a song, and his name's Peter Merrigan. And I think it was Pete that wrote the song. But anyway, it's called The Eyes of a Child.
Life is as it should be through the eyes of a child. The older we grow, our the dreams running wild. The farther we go from the place we began. The more we need the child to be the father to the man. And through the eyes of a child, life is as it should be. The sun brings a smile to the world that we see. So much we could learn if we'd stop for a while and picture the world through the eyes of a child.
And the song is about looking at the world through the eyes of a child. And the childs have a lot of wonderment and curiosity. So I suggest that if you can do that, don't get so serious about life. Don't be around people who are so serious about life. That's why I don't hang out on the comments on YouTube anymore. I don't need the stress. I don't need to hear all the bad stuff. It's not important to me. I'm helping people now. They're directly coming to me, asking for help. And I'm increasing all the ways I can help people through the member site. So again, I try and practice what I preach. And so if you can do that in your life and get rid of a lot of the stress and narrow your life down to where it's comfortable, it's fulfilling, you're feeling good feelings, move away from the things that don't feel bad and move towards the things that make you feel good. You can have relationships, where you live, all the things that make you feel good. Now, if something doesn't make you feel good, you have two choices. You can either move away from it or you can interpret it differently. Your belief about what that event means gives you the feeling. So it's always up to you what interpretation you give any event to result in how you're going to feel about it. So keep that in mind. So when it comes to a sense of wonderment, of curiosity, there's one thing I've always wondered about and been curious about that I'm going to talk to Nat about, and we're going to do a video, and I'll probably tack it on the end of this one, because I don't get it. You know, some of the things, are great here. When I learned about using the hose to hose your butt off after you use the bathroom, that was a great thing. It was great. There's a lot of things here that are really improvements. Some things I think need to be improved upon. One of the things is I never get it. You all have this stuff that you dry your hands with, dry your butt with and everything. But for me, when I try and use it, I end up with stuff all over my hands. So we're going to talk about that right now. And hopefully it'll be helpful and informative and humorous as well. But anyway, check this out. This is one of the things I've always been curious about here in Thailand. Check it out. What is this about? Look at this. What's that about? I got a tip for you so you don't end up looking like this. Hey, JC and Nat here. If you're familiar with our channel, we're always trying to help you out with a great retirement in Thailand, and also to help you get from where you are now to where you want to be. And every once in a while I run across things that I want to share with the YouTube viewers that I've learned or haven't learned over the years, or things that are a mystery to me. And there's a few of those. But a couple things to keep in mind is, now when you go to the bathroom in Thailand, a couple things to keep in mind. Don't put anything in the toilet that hasn't gone through your mouth first. Right? You understand that?
No.
You don't put anything in the toilet that hasn't gone in here first. In other words, you don't throw trash, you don't throw anything in the toilet. It's got to come out somewhere. Anyway, so that's one thing. And also the bum gun, we did a video about the water. That's a blessing. If you come from abroad and you're not used to that, you're not from Europe or something where you have bidets, then you're not familiar with that. But once you use it, you probably never want to go back. It just makes everything so clean and hygienic. Very good. The one thing I do want to talk about, though, and it is a mystery to me, is this thing here. Now, in English, we have names. I was talking to Nat about this the other day, about the English language, right? Remember me telling you that in English we have a name for every little thing? So we have things that are paper products that we use for all different purposes. Like this is toilet paper in English, toilet paper. Then we also have paper towels for drying our hands. And we have Kleenex for blowing our nose. So we have all these different things. But in Thailand, Thai people have one thing. And this is multi-purpose. You use it for wiping your butt. You use it for drying your hands. You use it for blowing your nose. And there's only one name for it. What's the name for this?
Tissue.
Tissue. How simple could that be? And in Thai?
Tissue.
Tissue. How simple can that be? Tissue. Now, you're going to find this everywhere. Okay? So when you go eat, what's on the table?
Tissue.
Tissue. If you need to go to the bathroom when you're in the restaurant, what do you take with you to the bathroom?
Tissue.
Tissue. That's right. You come to the beach and you want to have a picnic and you're going to be eating. What do you bring with you?
Tissue.
Tissue. Gee, it goes everywhere. It follows you around. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, there's one thing I've never figured out, and that's going to help us with today. I showed you when we opened the video. When I try and dry my hands with tissue, I end up with tissue pieces all over my hand. I never could understand this. It's a mystery to me, but Thai people, that doesn't happen to. So I'm doing something wrong and I want to know what it is. Because when I'm done, I have to peel off all these little pieces of tissue all over me. Okay, so can you demonstrate to them how you actually dry, because they're going to find this everywhere. And here, I'll wet your hands, and then you can do this, all right?
Okay.
Well, I can tell one thing that's done differently right from the get-go. And that is, now her hands are perfectly dry and there's no tissue on them. But Thai people are able to do that without making a mess and without it being everywhere. So the key is what? To get a lot of tissue? Take a lot, right? And then what? Fold it up. And then once it's folded, just pat. We call pat it dry. Maybe that's the problem, because I'm used to like a paper towel putting my hand in and drying it off. But you don't do that. Ah, well, there you go. There's the secret. One of the things about living in Thailand is you're going to encounter all sorts of things that are going to be different. Some are going to be easy to adapt to. Some are going to be a little more difficult to adapt to. Try and be as flexible as you can and try and go with the flow. Now, having said that, at home, I buy paper towels at the house. And what I usually do, because this is difficult for me, is, and this is the same thing when you use it in the bathroom. If I hose off the derriere, right, and you try and dry it with this kind of stuff, you end up with paper all over your butt. So again, I take 2 or 3 paper towels, fold them up and put them, that's why I got cargo pockets. I've always got stuff in my cargo pockets. I actually use it for cargo. And I carry those around with me, and that way when I need a paper towel, I have paper towels. So that's the way I adapt. Now I'll be able to do this though, because Nat just showed me how. But there's always what? Options, that's right. So there are ways around some of this stuff that you find difficult to adapt to. Now you don't have to adapt to squat toilets so much because almost everywhere now they have at least one sit-down toilet for old people and pregnant women and stuff like that. They don't want to squat now either. So that's becoming easier. And there's all sorts of things you're going to encounter in Thailand that you're going to have to figure out either a way to be flexible to do it, or you're going to have to find another way to get around it. But we have the secret now to this, right? Now, all the other details about living here, small details and everything, are in the member site, but I wanted to share this with everybody on YouTube because people keep asking me, how do you dry your hands with that tissue? And so there you go, that's the secret. So we got more videos coming at you. I think we might even be doing a live one where I can answer some questions because a lot of questions are coming into YouTube and I don't really answer them on YouTube anymore. I don't really have the time. I'd rather sit in one place and do it in real time. That way if you have a follow-up question I can answer. So look forward to that coming up. And for JC and Nat, hope this has been informative and helpful. And if you have any other topics you'd like me to cover, go ahead and leave a comment and I'll have Nat read them. See ya. JC and Nat out. Hey, JC here. My goal is always to help you get from where you are now to where you want to be, which is probably a life in Thailand. And I know a lot of questions come up about all sorts of things regarding insurance and vehicles, transportation, housing, relationships, getting licenses, all that stuff. And I want to help you by answering as many questions as I can. And if I can't answer them, then I'll reach out to you personally. But I'm going to leave a link in the description to where you can click on that and be able to tell me what it is that you're interested in, what kind of information, and I'll be able to try and answer it because I'm probably not going to be able to answer it within the YouTube comments anymore because of time constraints. It's just getting to be too much of a task to go through all the comments. So if you have a question, direct it to me. There'll be a link in the description and I'll be back in touch with you to try and get as much relevant information to you as I can. Remember, when it comes to getting the information you need about retiring in Thailand, there's always an option. See you, JC out. Hey, JC here. If you like that video, make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel here. Also, we have another video up here you're going to be really interested in watching as well. And if you're looking for all the details of how to retire in Thailand in one place, plus a group of people to support you, check this out over here. Give it a click.